So today's conversation is being called From Barriers to Belonging, Expanding Access Through Partnerships. And we're going to talk about some of the ways with a particular partnership that we've been increasing access to outdoor programming for young adults from the South Philadelphia area. This is part of our Let's Talk Mosaic conversation series. This is an informal forum for us to talk about, discuss, learn from each other on a variety of Mosaic topics. We're always looking for more volunteers to help out or to suggest these. There's a link at the bottom of the slides, or you can go to the Mosaic internet page, intranet page, to find out more about ways that you can get involved, either by being part of one of our subcommittees. This is put on by some members of the Learning Subcommittee, and other ways to join. So an upcoming opportunity for learning more is an DCNR DEP hybrid town hall series called Leveraging Agency Mandates to Advance Environmental Justice in Pennsylvania. There'll be 3 sessions in that series. May 19th, Building Foundations to Advance Environmental Justice. June 16th, Leveraging Tools, Data, and Research to Advance EJ across agencies. And July 16th, Engaging Communities to Advance Environmental Justice and Outdoors for All. These are all going to be hybrid and/or virtual sessions from 2 to 3:30 p.m. on the dates advertised. And you can find more about this on the Mosaic internet page. Did Maya join us and want to mention this series?
Hi, Ian. I think you pretty much covered it all, but hope to see you all at any of the 3 sessions. So they're not kind of required to go to all 3, whichever you are available for. If you're interested in coming in person, we have 35 seats per agency, and that'll be in the Rachel Carson Building, room 105. So that information's in the internet page, but I think it'll be a really rich conversation. We'll get to hear from some great external speakers, as well as staff from across our bureaus within our 2 agencies. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Maya. I did also want to call out that May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month and also Jewish American Heritage Month. While our talk today isn't going to specifically reference either of those communities, Adam does serve a lot of folks in a variety of different heritage communities within the city of Philadelphia. And so just wanted to call out those observances. We have a number of things to think about. Please keep your mic muted during this session. You can enable captions if you choose to. That's in the settings feature down at the bottom right-hand corner of Teams. Please feel free to use and enter stuff into the chat. Raise your hand later on if you want to be called upon, or we can just chime in verbally without needing to raise hands. Reactions are a lot of fun. You can say that you enjoy something resonates with you, that you appreciate what you're seeing. And there's a number of viewing options if you want to have us presented differently on your screen, or to help you concentrate on the content that's being presented in either of our presentations this afternoon, sorry. And I wanted to circle back to our Mosaic mindset. We're going to follow these guidelines in our discussion today. We will all be present and engaged, participating in dialogue, not debate, honoring inarticulate thoughts, understanding that intent does not equal impact. We extend grace with uncomfortable conversations, actively listen and suspend judgment, curious and honor one another's experiences, embrace discomfort that comes with learning, and remain confidential when sharing stories. So thank you all for attending to those. And your speakers today will be myself. I coordinate environmental education for the eastern region of Pennsylvania State Parks, and Adam Forbes, who is the executive director of Discovery Pathways, an organization which you're going to learn a lot more about in just a second. So to get started, DCNR Bureau of State Parks has been actively partnering with Adam Forbes and his organization Discovery Pathways since 2021. Before that time, we also worked with some of the precursor programs to his organization for a number of years prior. This is going to be our 6th season with programming for Discovery Pathways in the organization that Adam leads. We partner on recreational program outings in as many as 9 state parks each summer, engaging in kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, hiking, fishing, rock climbing, archery, camping, and more. A culminating experience has been an annual multi-day camping trip to French Creek. Discovery Pathways participants bring a high level of engagement, excitement, a culture of peer support and encouragement, respect, and appreciation to every experience we've shared with them. Jared Brandt, one of our environmental educators pictured in this shot here, EES at French Creek, put it this way, that it's amazing to see all of these students grow. And when they come, they're ready to dive in and ready to go. And I couldn't agree more. That has been my experience working with Discovery Pathways and their students. The high degree of enthusiasm and commitment that Discovery Pathways participants show is due in no small part to the care and attention that Adam plays, building a culture of empowerment and young adult leadership among his participants. So it's my pleasure to introduce Adam Forbes to tell us more about the work Discovery Pathways is doing with young adults in Philadelphia, how they expand their reach to lead Philadelphia residents in outdoor experiences, and how the public outdoor spaces and program services DCNR provides adds value to their organizational community. As I kick it over to Adam, I'm going to put a prompt in the chat, and if anyone wants to answer a question prompt, take a look at that. So I'm going to stop my screen share and let Adam do his.
All right, thumbs up if you can see my screen. All right, great. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks for that great intro, Ian. I'm really excited to be here with you all today virtually and to share a little bit about what we do and our amazing connection with DCNR over the years. So yeah, we are Discovery Pathways. That was a real throwback picture Ian had up there. So we'll be showing some new things and sharing about us. So we're a small nonprofit based in South Philly. We're really centered around uplifting the community through experiential nature-based programs. We provide a lot of hands-on environmental education to youth and families. We're going to share about some of our programs today. I won't get to all, but across all our programs, we really support health and well-being. And everything is really centered around our youth. So our kind of 4 big buckets with Discovery Pathways, we're rooted in South Philly. We grew out of work in the diverse immigrant and refugee communities found in South Philly, but our programs are open to all. We're based at FDR Park, which is down by the stadiums in South Philly, if anyone's been. And yeah, everything we do is centered around that youth leadership. So the Youth Environmental Leadership Program happens every summer, but students stay involved year round. And we're really trying to empower the next generation of environmental leaders. So our community engagement program has grown a ton. And our biggest things we do with that are free community boating and fishing. We also host lots of field trips and environmental lessons for schools, camps, all sorts of groups. And we do many other events, community cleanups, workshops, all different things. And our outdoor adventures is the piece that really we grew out of and is the highlight for a lot of our students. So that's over 10 environmental education day trips every year and our final camping trip planned in partnership with DCNR. And yeah, so quick little bit on the history. I have actually been running programs with DCNR since 2009. Before Discovery Pathways, it was through the PA Migrant Education Program. And we would go camping at French Creek. We also did an adventure camp for a number of years. This was a real highlight, and students earned spots on this program, and they stayed connected to us after funding ended for those programs. And when we had a big coalition of community leaders and parents, a lot were asking for more outdoor programs, more after-school programs. And so Discovery Pathways grew out of that community ask, and it grew out of those community leaders. I'm often the face of the organization now, but it's many more people behind me who created Discovery Pathways and have kept it going in what it's become today. So in the beginning, really all we did with the outdoors was camping, but Ian helped us starting in 2021 to expand a lot beyond that, and that's when we started the day trips to Naka-Mixon, Ralph Stover, Ridley, French Creek. Yeah, and as Ian mentioned, it included kayaking, rock climbing, a lot of different amazing things. So our big focus in the beginning was about getting youth out of the city, off of South Philly streets. There was a lot of violence in the communities we worked in. So we have always tried to work with the most underserved youth, and we work with local counselors, translators, mental health agencies. So back in 2021, our group, like Ian showed in that first picture, was 10. students. Now we've grown to 35 students in our full summer environmental leadership program. But we also have 178 students across all our leadership programs. In the beginning, students earned spots on all these trips by volunteering. Now we're able to have a paid program where students earn stipends. But yeah, just to say, without DCNR, we really never would have been created or grown into what we are today. And so, yeah, just keeping that in mind throughout. Our programs in Philly were a small piece of what we did in the beginning. Now they've grown huge. So we've had over 20,000 people come out to events each year the past 2 years. Our most popular one are free community boating days. We have over 500 people come out some days. Over 90% are new to boating. Fishing, over 95% are new to it. So these are our biggest programs, but yeah, we also have health fairs, birding, biking, lots of different programs, primarily at FDR Park, but also at other sites across the city. So what really makes us special is all of these huge programs. We can get 500 people on the water in a day because we have these amazing youth leading it. And so our youth lead everything. We translate all the information into 7 languages. So I saw in the chat a question about barriers. Language access is one of the biggest barriers we've worked with. A lot of families don't know how to get to a park, what's allowed, what's possible. They don't know about the programs available. So translation is a big thing we do. Technology has made that a little easier the past few years, but we still spend tons of hours making sure everyone can access the information. We make sure all of our programs are free. Transportation is a big one. So we have a van, we provide free transportation, food, gear. We end up giving out literally thousands of reusable water bottles to students each year so that they can have drinking water. So all those things we work on to break down those barriers. The trips I already mentioned, but they're such a highlight of the year. 64 youth got to go on those trips. I saw in the chat people mentioning about fear, and that is a big thing we deal with. So we spend a lot of time planning our summer and our year to build so that each trip kind of builds on itself and we can work to find ways to break down fear. With scheduling, often our rock climbing has been first, which can be the most challenging, but it still works as a great team building day where they all really get to connect. So all these trips, we basically have one a week during the summer. They're all a part of our youth environmental leadership program. So the youth are working really long, hard, hot hours in the city, but then get to also go on these trips outside the city. Now, with all the boats we have, we're able to teach the students basic kayaking and things, but then when they go on the trips, they get to really expand that knowledge. We do water testing in the city, so then on our trips, we also do water testing and they compare the results. And it does break down a lot of that urban-rural divide. A lot of our students do feel scared or nervous getting outside the city, getting to more rural areas. It doesn't feel like spaces where they're welcome. So we do a lot to build confidence and teamwork. And a lot of our youth end up returning to these parks with their families afterwards. So I'll just pick one of these quotes. My favorite trip is rock climbing on actual rock. It makes me so happy because it's a rare experience. We also swim in the river, which is when we really start talking and making friends. Another great one at the bottom. I left some spelling mistakes in there, so it's the real student quotes. But when we went to Marsh Creek, I wasn't afraid of water anymore, and I didn't feel scared of nature. I could enjoy the beautiful scenery. So we do a lot to overcome that fear. Pretty much no student comes into our program knowing how to swim. So there's a lot of fear around life jackets and things like that. But yeah, you can see these other quotes. A lot of them talk about how they support each other, how it's not about showing off, but it's about really like conquering your fears. So, overcoming failure is a big one that comes up. This student who she tried so hard to make it to the top of rock climbing. She didn't in the end, but it became something she even wrote her college essay about later. So it's a lot of life lessons that come up through the trips as well. So I'll just show a few pictures to give you a sense. Here's at High Rocks. This is learning kayaking and going kayaking at Marsh Creek and also at Delaware Canal State Park. Learning water testing and hunting for macroinvertebrates. So we learned how to do that on all our trips. Now we're also able to take it back and do it in the city and compare the results. It's obviously a lot worse in the city, but the kids figure that out. So yeah, lots of really hands-on trips. We combine like the fun adventure of it with also learning. So the trips don't feel like you're going for a lesson. It's like you get to get out and have fun. And then, oh wait, there's this little learning piece after lunch or something as well. But yeah, all these trips are a part of our Youth Environmental Leadership Program. It's 8 weeks. Youth are now paid for it. They leave with a certification in kayak instruction. We also give them a badge in environmental leadership. It's 100% students of color. All are new to any of these outdoor activities we do. When we ask teens, what's the biggest skill you've learned the last few years, mostly it's come up with a lot of them saying public speaking. So that's a huge thing because they have to teach kayaking, they have to teach fishing, they have to present to these large kids groups who come. But of course, they also cite a lot of the boating skills they learned, plant identification, many other things. So just a snapshot of who our youth are, at least in 2025. Every year it's different. We do have a lot of AAPI students, and we grew out of a lot of different Asian American communities in South Philly. So great to connect back to Ian saying that at the beginning. But yeah, in 2025, we had 12 languages spoken, Spanish, Khmer, Burmese, Vietnamese, Arabic, more. We had 267 students apply for 30 spots in our summer program. So there's a huge demand and interest. We used to go out and put up flyers and stuff. We don't do that at all anymore. We still have our counselors and our community partners we work with. But yeah, we grew our program to 35 last year, but we're not really growing any bigger because we like to focus really intensely on a group that we can support a lot to grow and develop instead of just having big numbers. 94% were immigrant and refugee youth or from immigrant and refugee households. And our demographics are broken down at the bottom there. But yeah, a real diverse mix of students. One of the best things we do is we hire returning leaders back to empower the new students. So students who've been through our program for a year or two come back and train the new students because all of them have to progress really quickly from having never been in a boat at all to teaching like hundreds and thousands of people. So it takes a big team, and a lot of what makes that happen is that they're learning from other youth who went through it. So it feels much more accessible to them. Often, in early years when it's like these white educators from outside the city teaching them, it feels different and scary. But when it's like youth from your community teaching you and showing you, hey, I was really scared last year, and now look, I can do this. It makes the learning a lot faster and a lot more comfortable for the youth. So yeah, a little bit more about how we break down barriers. We do a lot of work with the community to make sure we conduct interviews. This year we did interviews over the winter in like 11 languages. We have surveys, we interview parents, we meet with community leaders. We're always asking what went well, how can we do our programs better? So we honestly never thought we'd become this massive boating group in the city, but that was a big need and interest. More and more families kept saying, hey, we want more free community boating days and all those things. So yeah, there's a lot of hurdles. A lot of youth and families reported feeling unwelcome at parks or they lacked information. So we make sure everything's free. We have translated guides on paper and print. After our programs, we help families get their fishing licenses, picnic permits, campsite reservations, all of that. So we make sure it's not like they just come to one program and leave, but that they're getting that support after. And yeah, the programs are run by community leaders. So my goal with every program we have is like I can step in the back, and sometimes the students are like, why are you hiding in the boathouse? But I want to be able to step back and let the youth and the other leaders run it all. And so yeah, just sharing this quote at the bottom, I saw nature as a place I wasn't welcome, but seeing so many language and people at our boating days made me so proud of what we do. Families feel so much joy connecting with each other in the park, and I love that we get to use what we learned and teach them. So this is our new online guide we have, but yeah, our print guide, we printed in 7 languages. We have to reprint because we ran out, but it provides sites in Philly, but also beyond all the state parks, other free sites they can go to, other paid sites too. So a lot of people come boating and fishing with us once and it's small, they want to be able to do it more, and so we try and connect them beyond. Here's a few shots of our awesome youth environmental leaders. Discovery Pathways has truly changed me as a person. Before this program, I was very introverted. I feel like a leader instead of a follower now. Here's some shots teaching massive kids groups who come. This student shared about the benefit from feeling the responsibilities and improving that public speaking and teamwork. So that's a lot of what we hear from the students. That is the best part for them. In the city, we test for bacteria and E. coli and also learn about nitrates and phosphates and all that. And a lot of students come into our program having no idea we were going to do that. So this student shared something unexpected I learned this summer was how much science is connected to nature. I didn't know we would do water testing and learn about the environment in such a hands-on way. It was surprising and fun to see how what we learned could actually help our community. And here's about our boating and fishing days that I've mentioned a bunch, but yeah, just to reiterate, we'll show a few pictures from it. So at every day we teach basic paddling skills. We also try to teach some about local fish and birds and history. Yeah, we don't necessarily want to stay at that 16,000 people coming each year. It's been too big. So we've tried to shrink down in some ways. We've tried to say our free programs are really focused on people from South and Southwest Philly, because we've had people coming from across the city. It's great, but even people have come from Jersey and all sorts of other places. And we can handle a lot, but have a limit. So here's some shots. It's always awesome to see the excitement when kids catch a fish, but we don't promise that. Lots of happy faces boating. We have rowboats, canoes, paddleboards, a whole range of boats. This gives a sense of a busy day. There's like a constant flow of people coming in and out of boats. We've gotten really good at managing the crowds safely. The nice thing about the FDR Lake is it's a very safe place for people to learn. It's very shallow, it's small, there's no tides or big winds. So it's a great place for urban people who are scared to try getting on the water for the first time. You can see the side of the water at all points, so that's a big thing that helps people. This student shared, the program has given me the chance to have fun, learn new things about nature, and grow up. These things have changed my life so much, and the program is very meaningful to teenagers like me. I now don't litter and actually get excited to teach others about helping nature. I won't go through it all, but just, yeah, we do a lot of pre and post tests and surveys. For grants, we have to document numbers. And so in 2025 on our watersheds and environmental science test, the average score was 27% at the beginning. By the end, it was 95%. So that's a huge improvement. In the beginning, 15% of students said they care about their parks or care about their waterways in different ways. By the end, 100% say they care. So really awesome to see that. Perhaps most biggest for me is 100% say they felt supported, safe, and valued in our programs. So that's a big one. Yeah, I'll definitely get to some more questions at the end if I don't get to them, but going to touch on a few more things. Camping is our big highlight at the end of the summer. We go on a 4-day camping trip at French Creek, always playing with Jared and Ian and other educators. Orienteering, archery, swimming, kayaking. At night, we relax and play games. Something that's big is for a lot of our students, it's the first time they've seen stars. So that's really exciting. Their minds are kind of blown by just being out at night and being able to see stars. It's always cited as the highlight of the year for students, and something that they talk about for years and years to come. Here's some shots from our last year at French Creek, archery, kayaking, lots of fun, goofy times as a group. They work really hard all summer, and so the camping trip is really a time to celebrate that and get them away from all the city stress. So many of them, they're working multiple jobs, they have families they're supporting, lots of different things, and camping's the one time they can leave all that behind and kind of be a big kid again and connect with nature in a lot of fun ways. They're standing up here because they've gotten good at practicing it. It's one of their tests. I won't read all these, but I'll pick one. My favorite trip was when we go camping because it is my first camping trip ever, and it was so much fun. We got to play a lot of games, sit in front of the fire pit, and also learn new things about nature and that place. Jared does a really amazing job of teaching the students tons of stuff while also keeping it really fun and goofy and engaging. We have a lot of new students come every year, but the ones who have come a few years, he always adds new pieces and keeps it really new and fresh for all of them. A lot of them get really homesick. We've never had a student leave early. This year, one student tried, but we convinced her to stay, and she still talks about it and wants to go camping again. So yeah, it's really the time when the students get to bond and feel that pure joy being out in nature, when in the beginning of the year, they never would have done it. So yeah. Couple more shots of camping. Jared always teaches us a lot about beavers. One thing I realized talking to a student the other day is, yeah, French Creek is one of the only time they really get to relax and fish themselves, because at FDR, they're always just teaching others fishing, and it's gotten so busy. But they get to catch their own fish. We eat a lot of food. We have crazy big meals. Campfires every night. Lots of really fun hikes, connecting with nature. A lot of these kids never would have touched this water in the beginning of the year, and now they're they won't listen to me to not get under it or bathe themselves in it. And they really work together as a group and support each other so much through all the challenging parts of it. Last year, for whatever reason, it was insanely buggy and also insanely hot. So there are challenges, but they really work to support each other in that. And yeah, alumni always hype up the camping trip for new students, and a bunch go on to introduce camping to their own families. That's not our goal, but a bunch do, which is great. At our new student meeting this year, this year we only had 180 apply. We shrunk down. We didn't put out the application publicly, but still a very large number applied. And even at those first meetings, there are so many already asking about camping. And our notes and journals from camping really show the program's deep meanings. And yeah, they get to celebrate all they've accomplished over the years. So I chose one student to highlight, Ta'u. These pictures are actually from a few years ago of him with Jared at French Creek. And Ta is in our presentation here, and he's going to share for a minute or two. Ta, if you can unmic and give it a shot. Or unmute.
Hello, can you hear me? And my name is Ta'u. I've been with Discovery Pathways since ninth grade, and during my first few years, I could just remember like going on fun outdoor trips and just learning about the environment, becoming an environmental leader. Some of my favorite trips would have to be like hiking, like when we hiked Ridley. My first time going to Ridley Creek, it's just like it was just so beautiful that like during the summer I decided to bike from South Philadelphia all the way to Ridley, which was also like a new experience for me. And during the last 2 years with Discovery Pathways, or the past 2 years with Discovery Pathways, I became a head student leader, which made me like step into another leadership role and helping students around my age, like in high school, become environmental leader, whether it's through mentorship or just guiding them through the summer to become environmental leaders. Also, like through my past 2 years, I've also like built more connection or passion for the environment. I've built stable gardens. I even constructed a bee house with two of my other friends, and we would set it up uh, on a nearby tree at FDR Park to just create a home for bees and just improve the like get their population up because we saw a huge decrease in their population. And yeah, like that, even that, like that project, like built my passion for the environment. And like going back to like growing up as a kid, like I've always been like interested in STEM or math, and like collaborate combining that with like my passion now. Like next year I'm going to like on the screen I'm going to Bucknell for environmental engineering, and that was like rooted from me being with DP for all of high school. Even like before DP, I've like never even thought of the possibility of going to college. Like I just want to do my time in high school and just be done with it. But growing a passion just motivated me and like built me up to a leader and a person to like start advocating and like make a change for the community and like become an environmental leader. Like I could do so much like stuff to help the community and the environment. Yeah, just like being with DP over like just over high school. Like I've been with them since freshman year. It just helped me to build like myself as a person, but also like my passion and like what I can do in the future and like what I want to do to make a change in the world. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Ta. I really put him on the spot here today. But yeah, Ta's going on to environmental engineering. We don't hope that every student in our program goes into the environmental field. We know that's not realistic, but we've had a lot more in recent years wanting to major in environmental science, environmental engineering, marine biology, different things. So that's really awesome when they do. One student went on to Pitt and like became the head of the environmental club. So yeah, Ta did last year get to travel to Harrisburg as well to accept the Governor's Award for Environmental Excellence. So that was really awesome. So we try to get our youth out to as many of these bigger ceremonies and things as well. So I'll touch on a couple other things real quick that I wasn't sure if I have time for, but I'll just mention. We also have this incredible dragon boat team that Ta is also the captain of. It was a really small thing a few years ago and has grown insanely the past few years. If anyone doesn't know a dragon boat, it's like fits 20 people. 4 of our students even made Team USA this year, or last year. here's a few shots of our team. It's another way to get kids on the water and get kids having fun. We even got to travel to New York City. We lost to their really strong youth team by 1 second. But really amazing experience to get to go to all these races and have the students find their like physical strength as well through all the programs. And yeah, we do lots of community events, as I mentioned, and trash cleanups. Ta, who was talking, that's him there marking the storm drains. So we put out those little educational stickers on storm drains. And just ending with this quote that urban kids like us never dreamed this was possible. We see so many beautiful places and become true leaders for our community. So that kind of ties into what Ta shared as well. And we have the saying that a bunch of youth said for years of when youth lead, the community follows. So we really try to create that change by the youth leading. And Ian, depending on time, I could show 2 minutes of the video, or we're kind of right at time, it looks like.
Yeah, let's take a minute. There's a
Okay.
couple of questions in the chat where people may want to come off to add that, unless Arlene, do you have a suggestion of whether we do the video while you're recording as opposed to after?
We can do it while we're recording, so that way those that weren't able to join today can actually look at the video as well too.
Yeah, why don't we do 2 or 3 minutes of that, and then we'll transition over to questions.
Sounds good. And I'll send the link in the chat. It is a 7-minute video, so we're just going to watch a little bit in 1 second.
2025, right? There's a whole bunch of technology advancements, cool stuff, you know? But sometimes you gotta get away from the urban life. Like, you don't want to be stuck walking around smoke, cars, roads, all that stuff. Like, sometimes you gotta see green, you know?
To be honest, I'm like a person who usually stays inside, or like haven't been connecting with nature. But after this program, I've very much connected and learned more, especially about our water.
I think people should care about our watersheds because we use our watersheds basically in our daily life, because the water that we drink and use to shower with comes from our rivers. And if it's not clean and not healthy, then it can affect our daily lives. And it can also affect the organisms in the water.
It's just a really nice thing to be in nature. You got a breath of fresh air, and staying inside all the time isn't really great for your health.
The reason why I joined this program for this summer is because I just came to America for 7 months, so I didn't have too much friend and too much connection.
Before I joined this program, I didn't know a lot of people. And after I joined, I know a lot of people here.
From this program, I've met tons of new people and have seen many cultures and diversities.
I actually was so shocked because I didn't think I would build any social connections joining the program. I didn't know anybody but one person. So I was really shocked how I made a lot of friends. I don't know how I did, but I guess we just all had to work together in some way. And then I think that's just what brought us closer to become friends.
Being here right now has to be one of my favorite moments because camping was a really fun experience for me. At first, I was really scared to go camping because I thought I would have to sleep outside in tents with a bunch of bugs. But I realized that it's not as bad when you have people around you that make it nice and positive and a fun experience.
Camping was actually really fun. I didn't think that would be possible, but it was really fun, and I'll probably do it again.
I think one of my favorites is canoeing because it required a lot of like teamwork.
Who's vote? Our vote! Who's vote? Our vote! Maybe when kayaking and canoeing and free community boating, because like it was so fun, like talking with other people, and like kayaking is my favorite thing of all summer,
I feel like I tried a lot of new things and got out of my comfort zone. I would never thought I would be like cutting up worms and fishing and kayaking 8 miles, but I did all that and I'm so proud of myself.
I've challenged myself a lot this summer because I didn't really want to do any of these stuff because I never really want to go out. It was actually really fun.
One of the first thing I did first week, I came here, this is the first trip I went to rock climbing.
All right, I'll pause it there. I can send the link in the chat, and yeah, people can watch more after. It's on our website and YouTube and everything. Let me see. So I will end there and we'll shift to questions and everything
Yeah, while
else.
we're still recording, I want to say thank you so much, Adam. I think it's really meaningful and moving, even having seen these programs and participated in them a little bit myself. It still really blows me away every time hearing the students share in their own words what's been meaningful to them. So I really want to thank you for sharing with us today. And then I'm going to turn it over to Arlene. She has her hand up, and then she can decide when the best time to end the recording piece will be.
Thanks so much, Ian. And Adam, thank you so much for sharing about this wonderful program that you're operating out of the Philadelphia region, and for giving young people the opportunities that everyone truly deserves to have in the outdoors, and to be able to give them opportunities to be stewards, environmental stewards. And so the first thing that I wanted to mention is that I dropped something in the chat about our Outdoors for All Day event that's coming up in Philadelphia on June 27th. And when you mentioned like the Dragon Boat team, we're going to be on the water, and we're partnering with BLJ Rowing Community. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I wasn't able to drop the PDF in the chat for some reason. So I'll get your contact information from Ian and email it to you, because we want partners to come out and be a part of that day, as well as inviting youth around the area to come out and celebrate Outdoors for All Day. So that was the first thing that I wanted to mention. The other thing that I wanted to have you talk about while we're still recording, because I want staff that are unable to participate today to be able to hear this, but Ian had asked a question about barriers that all of us have recognized or learned from urban youth. What have people told us? And we've been grappling with that for a while here at DCNR, about we recognize that there are barriers to the outdoors, and we're always trying to figure out ways to address those barriers. What I heard you mention throughout your presentation is the involvement of community leaders. You talked about transportation, like you made a way for transportation to get people out to the parks, financial support, also being aware of what the community needs are. What are the youth telling you? Like, what are their challenges or fears or concerns about being in the outdoors, or things that they would like to have addressed for them to be able to have meaningful experiences. And so again, we've been talking about that a lot at DCNR, like trying to figure out what's the appropriate framework that we need to follow. We need a roadmap, practical steps to connect all of these dots that you seem to be doing so well. So can you talk to our staff a little bit about how you were able to get to this place where you're able to give these youth meaningful experiences in the outdoors?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the longer story is, a lot of it for us has grown out of long roots and connections in the community. So it is a lot of community translators, community leaders, different people I worked with. So I was a school teacher for years, and so got to know a lot of bilingual counselors in the schools and different things. So yeah, a bunch of it does come from the history and those connections. But yeah, to answer about what's possible, I mean, we find that a lot of it is, like you said, asking the community and people directly from the community, like, what could an event look like that they would feel more comfortable at, or what they really want, what could be fun for them. We've seen a bunch of people like plan a fishing event, and it's like 35 minutes of speaking in English before people get to fish. And so things like that, even if people ask they want a fishing event, it's like, how should that event be structured so that it's accessible and welcoming for people? So a lot of it is trial and error and learning from what works and what doesn't. Like you mentioned, I've seen a lot that for a lot of youth and families, a lot of it comes from seeing someone that looks like them or comes from their background or community doing that thing or in that park that helps them feel really comfortable, and kind of can help break down some of that fear and divides. So yeah, that's a piece. Working with ambassadors we paid community ambassadors for years as well, and they help do outreach into their own communities to then bring their communities into the park. Sometimes it's as simple as like we put up Arabic flyers for the first time, and we had this one mom who read it and was like, "Oh my God, I've never seen a flyer in Arabic in our community." And then she's ended up bringing so many Arabic families to our programs the past few years. So sometimes it's even that small piece that like breaks an in with a community. So yeah, unfortunately, there's no like one magic bullet. You know, a lot of it is like time and building relationships. But yeah, even when, you know, yeah, with a lot of technology, you know, we actually pay some translators less and use some more technology translation, and it has made a lot of things easier. But even when people come to our boating and they see a waiver in their language, even if they can also speak English, they've expressed to us like, wow, I feel so welcome because I see there's this waiver in Spanish or in Vietnamese or whatever. And so lots of little pieces. But yeah, for us, often the biggest is like having them see and hear from someone they know, or someone that looks like them, or someone from their language or background, like that's doing this. You know, we have a group, Birding in Color from Philly, who's awesome, and they come out and they're like, you know, very honest with the kids, like picture a birder, who do you think of? You know, and they're like, picture someone who works in a park, who do you think of? And they're all like, yeah, old white people, you know, and then these people teach like we're young black birders and we can make it fun and exciting. And so yeah, lots of different ways, but those are my quick thoughts about it.
Thanks, Adam. Ian, I'm wondering if it would make sense to continue recording this because there's so much great information. Does anyone have any objection to us continuing to record the conversation? Just
we could also offer that we could probably stay on a few minutes if Adam has time for that, if anybody wanted to, you know, ask a question without being on the recording.
Right. I just feel like maybe this would be worthwhile to keep it.
It's fine with me. You can also, everyone can put a question into the chat if they would like it to be addressed without unmuting or being on a recording. I did want to advance one question I saw a little earlier. I'll shout out Rebecca. Rebecca, did you want to ask your question or should I ask?
And Rebecca, do you prefer that we have this not recorded, or are you okay being recorded?
I didn't hear Rebecca chime in, so I'm going to ask. Did your participants say why they didn't feel welcome at parks before?
Yeah, so a range of things. You know, a lot of times it is just language access and having information in their languages. Even when we don't ask, yeah, you know, this is in no offense to any DCNR educators or others. We also work with like Take It Outdoors and other private companies and people who lead trips. But the teens often bring up to us like, why is everyone you bring us to like white? And so definitely like, you know, that's led to some interesting conversations around race. You know, there are some students who, you know, have been in like AP African American history and have gone deep in conversations with us about like history of Black people going into rural areas. And so, you know, there's some who really go deep with it. For a lot of others, it's just if they go to a space and don't see like a diversity of people or don't see, you know, a way they feel any sign that like makes them feel welcome, you know, sometimes some of them have shown me like, I'm not faulting this, but some of them go to a park and all they see are like rules and like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. And they send me like a picture of it and they're like, I don't understand all these rules. Like, Mr. Adam, can you help? And I get why all those rules are there, but that can be like, you know, something daunting. You get to a new place and it's like a lot of rules and regulations. You will be fined or ticketed, all these things. And so especially, you know, for ones who English isn't their first language, that can feel like, oh, wait, is everything I'm doing illegal or wrong? Or, you know, they see people like wading in and like sort of swimming in the water, but then all these there's no swimming signs and the ranger comes up and, you know, so different things about not understanding the rules and regulations too. You know, we've had with fishing a lot of families go to a park and they don't necessarily at first know they need a fishing license and like someone comes up to them and there's like a language barrier. And so yeah, those are some of the biggest things we see, and definitely diversifying the workforce is a big thing. I know DCNR and lots of state parks have put a lot more effort into Spanish translation around, and that's helped a lot of people at a lot of parks, which is awesome. Of course, it's impossible to have every language up there, but when it's accessible, that really helps. And yeah, in the past, we've had DCNR or other groups who lead programs outside the city send us their flyers, and we've helped share it to the community. And even coming from us, people feel more welcome to go to it. And so sometimes it's just like hearing from someone they trust. But a lot of our families, once they go to a park once and like have an experience and it's not scary and bad, then they like spread it and bring their community a lot. We have a lot of families who go, a ton of them go to Ralph Stover State Park, and it's not even the closest park, but like we helped one family reserve a picnic pavilion there once, and now they bring like their church and lots of people all the time. So yeah.
Well, I want to open it up and see if anyone else has a question or comment or something for the discussion.
I'll ask another question. These are things that are brought to my attention often. So, Adam, our DEIB efforts at DCNR are called Mosaic. And we have an action plan, a 3-year action plan that is in place right now that gives us sort of the guidance of how we're trying to be intentional about embedding DEIB into everything that we do at DCNR. We have specific action steps with metrics to make sure that we're keeping ourselves accountable for what we're attempting to do, that we're not just simply talking about it, but we're walking the talk. So one of the things that we've been working on over the past year is having staff get out into communities, not as experts, but to learn from people, like what is it that you need? What are your areas of interest so that we can address them here at the agency and make the outdoor spaces more reflective of all these communities that we have deemed underrepresented. Not everybody's comfortable just kind of getting out there, and even if it is just to kind of observe and learn. And so do you have any tips on what are some of the first steps that we could do if we're completely brand new to engaging new communities, diverse communities? What are examples of some events that people could attend, or meetings or spaces that we should attempt to get in to learn from these different communities about what their needs are, to start trying to work on building relationships too, because you mentioned that it takes time, and trust is an important factor of that as well too. But just wondering if you could kind of give us some tips on how we could get more comfortable doing those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, definitely those connections with groups doing a lot of this work. Unfortunately, a lot of us are really small and busy and people run out of time, but there's lots of I wish there was more, but there's a bunch of other groups like Discovery Pathways doing great work with these diverse communities. So definitely like using those groups as like connectors to then reach out to their communities and things can be a great step for sure. I find a lot with events, especially for getting people out for the first time, like make it fun, short, and for us, I know with state budgets and things, maybe this is complicated, but for us, having like snacks and food is always great. Keeping it like limited talking often, or if you are doing a lesson where you're talking, like short talking interspersed with like doing the activity. But a lot of times, especially like we have a lot of groups who they're not comfortable boating. So we plan something at the park where it's like, come walk, try birding, and then we have a picnic afterwards. And, we don't provide a huge meal, but we like give snacks and some fun drinks and cut up a watermelon. And it makes it like, more of feeling like a fun event instead of just like you're coming to learn or you're coming to do this really challenging, scary thing. Then those people might come back and try something else. But, if it is like a hike or birding or a kayaking, like mix it with something else fun and often food involved as well. But yeah, utilizing community groups and leaders who are already like well connected, I think is a big thing. Having flyers that include some other languages or a QR code to a site where like there are other languages that come up is a big one. And yeah, keeping like flyers and outreach like short and simple. I struggle with it too when you want to include all the details, but a lot of people do use translation tools on their phone and stuff now, but if it's like a shorter, simple flyer or email or outreach, it can help people to like translate and get that information faster. Um, but yeah, like a partner from the rowing group, if they were able to share information in their community or help lead another event, like even if it's not specifically what that group does, but helping to use all those community connectors, I think is a big one.
Thank you.
Brandon asks in the chat, is there anything unique about the physical space that can be more inclusive? So thinking about places, parks, forests, any of our or your managed outdoor spaces.
I think a big one is, which I know a lot of people already do this, but just like making sure and planning like bathrooms at beginning and end. Often people like get scared, like, wait, am I going somewhere where there's a horrible porta potty or, not bathroom? But I think, yeah, like a lot of times having the space just be open and, not feel like you're entering this like private room that you don't belong, but just, of course, a lot of the spaces are outdoors. So just, yeah, yeah, hard to say too much about physical spaces. I think one thing that can help is like having some other languages up or some, pictures that show different diversity up, just anything you can do that feels like you're walking into a space that's like welcoming for all. Um, Specific activities is a tough one. I would have not thought boating would have been the thing that thousands of urban residents wanted. Honestly, a lot of our beginning program was like fishing and nature walks. But we've seen such a big interest for boating. So that, still we do it in a very safe place. But yeah, often it comes like just listening to communities and asking them what they want. But even with boating, like when it's busy, we cap it at 30 minutes with people. But a lot of times for the first time, they go out for 10 or 15 minutes and they come back and they're like, I'm done. That was great. And that was scary, but it's like, that's okay, and that was your first time and you could come back or not. So, I think people like we try, a lot of groups reach out to us and are like, oh, can you tell your communities about this event on the water? But it's like an hour and a half paddle on the Delaware River. And that feels really intimidating for a lot of people. So I don't know, finding ways where like it can be like, and even in the title, it is like intro to birding or intro to boating, or where people know it's like easy and beginner friendly. We are not doing any collabs with Blackbirders Week this year. I wish we were. But yeah, we're still working on our schedule with some of the birding groups we bring in.
And I wanted to really quick touch on, can you tell us about any challenges or barriers that your organization is facing to getting these activities and adventures out to your participants?
Yeah, so transportation was always a huge one, and so we finally got a van and some other staff who can drive and things with that. But yeah, funding is a big one, it comes and goes, and lots of these things aren't, funded regularly. And so for a lot of small nonprofits doing this work, of course, funding is the biggest. We're a partner in a DCNR community grant this year that's based at FDR, so that's awesome and will help us continue a lot of our big community events. We've actually seen more and more funders. So, I'll be honest, our biggest funder is William Penn Foundation, and they had a new rule that none of their funding can be used for things outside of Philadelphia. So we had to take all of our trips to state parks and camping and everything out of those grants. And yeah, 2 years ago, we were about to end our camping trip entirely because we just couldn't find any funds for it. A group kind of miraculously found us online. They're an older group of older Philadelphians, and they've stepped in to fund it the last few years. But yeah, some of these things are not often tied to exact grants or funding streams, so that's a big one. And yeah, in the city here where we're based at FDR, the park is going through a big construction revitalization, which is great in the long term, but for right now, it provides a lot of challenges with buildings and infrastructure. We're an outdoor program, but like we also need indoor space to meet. We need air conditioning for kids to cool off. So we've lost access to some of those things. So yeah, lots of different challenges, but transportation, funding, and indoor space, I would say, have been our biggest the past few years.
All right, we're coming up on 3 o'clock. Does anybody have a last quick ask or comment? Well, Adam's information is up on the screen here. Please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions or ideas for achieving some of those barriers. We thank you so much, Adam and Tao, for joining us today. It was a really great opportunity to hear more in depth about your organization, your students, and all the great work you're doing for the folks in Philadelphia.
Thank you so much for having us, everybody. I recognize a few of these names from past years of connections and reaching out to bug all of you, but great to connect, and thanks for listening. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. Glad you got to hear from Ta too as well. And yeah, I'll put the video right in the chat if anyone wanted it, but also check out our website and everything's up there, or Ian can connect you to anything, or just reach out to me direct as well.
Some great videos and contents there. And Arlene.
Thank you so much, Ian. Again, Adam, thank you so much for sharing your time and expertise and experiences with all of us. You mentioned that it's important to take advantage of the partnerships of, or leveraging partnerships of others in the community to the folks that we're trying to connect with. And so I would encourage you, if you could, if you have time, if you could share like some of those partner names, like follow up with us, send an email. We'll be sending out the recording to everyone, and we can also share those contacts as well for people to be taking, or organizations for us to take into consideration, at least give us ideas. And for those of us that are in the southeastern part of the state, perhaps we can start taking advantage of those partnerships as well too. So thank you again. I do think Winnie has her hand up too, Ian, in case you want to address her question.
Sure.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Arlene. Speaking of leveraging partnerships, it's not just about what we ask of you, it's also what we give. And given that Tab mentioned that he is going to be joining the Bucknell College of Engineering, which I'm so excited about, I am a fellow Bucknell Engineering alum, so I would like to extend a very hearty welcome to him, and however I could be of service, helping him adjust to the college or whatever resources he may need, I am more than welcome. I have sent you an email. He may reach out as he feels inspired. So congrats again.
That's really appreciated. He left because he has to get ready for a dragon boat practice, but he would love that. He was very nervous to go to Bucknell because he doesn't know anyone. So I spent many hours convincing him and his family that he'd be okay. So yeah, I'm sure he'd love to connect. I'll pass on his info for sure.
He knows at least one person now, so we're good. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I saw we had about 85 people on at one point, so well attended, and hope everybody got a lot out of today's session.